Welcome to SJSharks Playoffs Live. We're at Sharks Ice just before the plane flight to Los Angeles for game number 6. I'm Dan Rusanowsky with Jamie Baker. And Jamie, game number 5 provided even more drama, even though the Sharks and their fans probably felt they'd be good 3-2 ahead. The way it's happened's been a little strange.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we could have held off on the drama and started to prepare for the next round, but you know what? Hats off to the LA Kings. They came in, and I thought they played their best game of the series. They did. They played basically a perfect game at SAP Center last night. They came out, they had the momentum early on, they scored the first goal, got a second goal, and then, quieted the crowd down, and the crowd started to try and get into it at the start of the second, but couldn't because they scored 22 seconds in. And from there, they looked like the LA Kings that led the NHL this year in goals against at 2.05. I mean, it was a smothering type of game plan that they played, and I think from the San Jose Sharks standpoint, you can look at all kinds of different things, but I don't think I thought they were chasing the game a little bit. I thought they looked almost like a team that scored so many goals in game 1 and 2 that they were going to go back to that formula. And I know that's not the formula that the coaches are preaching. And I think ultimately these guys, the players, have to buy in to the structure and foundation that the coaches have been preaching all year. And that's what it's going to take to win the next game.
And the next game is going to be Game 6 in Los Angeles, and the San Jose Sharks did not have the services of Marc-Edouard Vlasic from the midway point of the first period, really the 15-minute mark, until the end of the game. That's a huge concern.
Huge concern. I mean, he's Sharks' top defenseman. He's one of the best defensemen in the NHL. He carries a lot of minutes, so we don't know his status, but obviously it's a concern going into Game 6.
And a man who certainly understands what the pressures of being up in a series, trying to close it out, trying to get a big goal, is with us now. Owen Nolan, one of the great captains in San Jose Sharks history. Owen, you've been through this so many times before. You're in the top 10 in scoring in Sharks and playoff goals, 15. You've got 5 game-winning goals in the playoffs. And, of course, we all remember some of the great ones you scored and the pressure you've been under. Give us an idea of what's going through the Sharks right now as they try to get back into control in this series.
Well, realistically, you didn't think that the Sharks were going to win 16 games straight. I mean, no team has that. I mean, that's what you want to do, but realistically, this league is so competitive. Teams are really balanced that it's a tough task to do. But they're going through a little adversity right now, and it's almost a good thing because they'll have to challenge that again in another series, and they'll know how to handle it. So I'm not worried about what they're going to do. They're going to come out fast this Game 6 coming up, and they'll win the game because of it.
Oh, and talk about what facets of the game you think they need to work on, improve to go and win in LA.
Well, they've got to come out the way they did the first 2 games. They came out with a lot of speed. I thought last night that they almost played their game to their level. LA couldn't keep up with them the first 2 games, and they need to come out with that speed again, make them try and chase them, make them try and play that high tempo. And if they come out with that attitude and play that way, I don't think they'll have a problem in Game 6.
What about the discipline and the physicality getting into the later stages of a series? I mean, obviously there's animosity. These teams don't like each other, but where's the balance of playing physical but also keeping, controlling your emotions?
Well, you want to stay physical, but you want to be smart about it. If the puck's available, you got to get the puck. You can't score without the puck. I know everyone wants to finish a check, but if the puck's available, you have to get it. That's what scores the goal. So there's a fine line there where you want to finish your check and make sure that they know that they're in a game, but at the same time, you've got to capitalize on opportunities.
LA made adjustments to that type of play. They put Dustin Brown on the line with Kopitar again. Do the Sharks have to adjust to that?
I think they can handle any combination that LA throws. You know that they're going to be ready, especially on home ice. Darryl will have that team ready to go. But if you look top to bottom, San Jose has the better skill, and I think they have the better teams. It's just a matter of applying their skill, their work ethic, doing the little things right, and Game 6 shouldn't be a problem.
Can you lace up? I'd love to see you out there, but I don't know if you could control your emotions.
I'd be good for about 3 minutes, but something would happen in those 3 minutes.
Be fun to watch.
We
That's
know
drama.
we know what would happen with Owen Nolan, and let's not forget, Owen Nolan also is the host of Sportsman 360, an outstanding program that you've got to watch. Thanks, Owen, for being with us.
Thanks, Buster.
Thanks, Buster.
The man who is one of the great captains of the San Jose Sharks. Jamie, now it's time to go to our Twitter questions. You can tweet your questions to us, of course, at hashtag SJSharksPlayoffs. And the correct address is SJSharks Playoffs Live. Here is our first question from Jose. Would SJ, that is San Jose, benefit more from skilled players like Marty Havlat over a player like Mike Brown, who provided value early in the series?
Well, ultimately that's going to be one of the questions the coaches have to determine is they're going to look and analyze all the players and the goalies and also the health of everybody, including the defense, to put the roster, the best roster out there that they think can handle the adjustments that LA has made. You look at Brown, the physicality that he's brought. He scored a goal earlier in the series. Do you want to keep him in, or do you want to put in a Havlat or a Kennedy or somebody else? So that's ultimately the coaching decision. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but you want to find that right formula. So I think there's going to be some tinkering with the lines, though.
And Matt wants to know, what changes will we see? You make some changes, Jamie.
Well, I think the Sharks, I mean, there's player changes, but ultimately it has to come down to execution. It comes back to what Owen was saying. You know, I think the Sharks have to play fast, and I'm going to take what he said and also what Brett Hedican said last night. There has to be some structure to the game. You can't just run around. Even Owen said you can't run out of position for the big hit. It's all about the puck. I saw the Sharks last night. I thought they were looking for they had 55 hits. In the first period, they were running out of position. I didn't see structure in the game. I didn't see that foundation hockey. They allowed, you know, they got caught running around, and what it did, it cost them the neutral zone. And the one thing I've been saying since game one is the team that's been ultimately winning the neutral zone, that's controlling the tempo of the game, has had the advantage in this series. And that's what I saw last night. I didn't think San Jose did a great job in the neutral zone, and I think they need the right personnel to do a better job there, and I think they need to execute better. So the changes ultimately have to come from, you can make one or two player changes. It has to come from the 18 skaters. They have to abide by the system and the foundation and the structure that the coaches have put in place.
And obviously, if they do that, they'll control the neutral zone, and they'll control game number 6. We want to make sure that you tune in to the exciting broadcast of Game 6 on Monday. We're on the air at 6:30 on the Sharks Radio Network and our flagship station, KFOX, 98.5 in San Jose, 102.1 in San Francisco. And also remember, the game is on Comcast Sportsnet California and also on NBC Sportsnet nationally. Remember, tweet us your questions to hashtag SJSharks Playoffs Live, and we will see you on Game 6.